Good evening, ladies and germs.
Good evening. I am Scott Cleverdon.
And I am Assumpta Serna. Come on, how the devil are you? I've been speaking Spanish all day, so I'm having enormous difficulty trying to get my head around English. So, how the heck are you? Hey Neil, how you doing? I've got your video. Ha ha ha. It's good.
So today we're gonna.
So we're gonna do two things today. We're gonna do Neil and we're gonna do Leonie.
Okay.
I'm gonna start with Neil because he's here. And he's been a dedicated follower of fashion for way too long. First thing is, look, we got all these lovely people who've been helping us since April.
Following too for many years now.
Yeah, it's years and years and years.
2 years.
Yeah, it's a very long time. These are the people who help us through Patreon. If you ever want to help us, you can contribute a little bit to us every month. We have something called Familia de Cine, which means the film family. And what we do is we have created, since this whole pandemic thing happened, we've created this community that we help each other out with self-tapes, with coaching, with development of projects.
Yes, the development of projects also, we think that it has to be, as professionals as we can be, because in all these people in these communities, already 123, what's happening is that they have wonderful ideas, they have wonderful projects, but they never can reach all the possibilities. So what we are trying to do here is just help them with what we know, and also with other people, professionals in the other areas like production or distribution, people from the industry that, if they like the material, they can also help you. So the idea is all together we arrive further, and I hope better. So the idea that we have today is just doing video books, because showreels. And why? Because showreels is also a way of understanding what it works and it doesn't work, and what it doesn't work for acting, right, Scott?
Absolutely. I think without further ado, let's go ahead and kick it off and do your magic or something.
Okay.
You do your applauding. Tonight we're going to be reviewing a showreel and a self-tape. That's not what I wanted to come up there. Let's do that again. Showreel, self-tape. There you go. Today is episode number 300. It's probably 380 by now.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but anyway. So one of the things that we found, and we've done it with hundreds of self-tapes, but mostly showreels, mostly in Spanish, as you all know, is that we've discovered that this is one of the greatest ways to explore what works in acting, what doesn't work in acting, and it allows us to kill several birds with one stone, which means that we can help people rearrange or fix their showreel. Sometimes it doesn't need much fixing. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of rearranging. Sometimes there's technical things, audio. Sometimes it's stereo, mono.
Sometimes we say don't bother, and sometimes we say that.
Sometimes we go no. It's sometimes people need to say what you shouldn't put in a showreel.
Of course, we are very honest. We never, say
no,
things
because and this is the most important thing, is that we only have your best interests at heart. And we never want to send somebody off into the world and have something, show something to somebody which may do them harm.
Exactly.
Why? It's not a reflection on your talent or your training or anything like that. It's just that sometimes people have a bad day, and sometimes people get some bad advice. And I know in my career as an actor, I got some very bad advice. In my training, I got some bad advice. And sometimes people just need to, we need to hear somebody telling us that we're doing okay.
let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to kick off today, Neil says, let me just go to what Neil says.
Sent that video and other videos to some casting directors here in Ireland last week, and one of them came back and offered me the opportunity to self-tape for a movie. They are casting at the moment. Got that through yesterday. Tape is due on Monday. That excited. Big opportunity for me at this early stage in my career.
Okay, so let's now we've got that. Let's go ahead and check out what Neil sent me.
His eyes.
This is not what I want. I want. Let me just see where it is. Everything is. There we go. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is something that Neil sent me a few weeks ago. This is a self tape, just to be completely. One second. Okay, because we were muted there. All right, here we go.
You know, I once did a piece on this war photographer. His name was Martin Krastovsky. For 6 months he was with a unit in Vietnam. And the day before he was scheduled to leave, the day before, he's out with a unit. And it was just a routine patrol, or so they thought. But suddenly the lieutenant pulls him down. And Krastovsky hadn't intended to take a picture at that moment, but his hands were on the camera, and he hit the ground so hard it just went off. And the picture captured the lieutenant getting shot in the head. And Krastovsky said to me, "That bullet would have hit me. It should have hit me." And he didn't show that picture to anyone, not for 25 years. 25 years later, he got up one morning, he looked at that picture, and he saw something that wasn't horrific. And he decided to tell the story. Because he realised he hadn't accidentally taken a picture of a man dying. It was a picture of a man saving his life. The picture I'm making, the picture I'm trying to make, it's about what you people go through every single day, under the most difficult circumstances that nobody can imagine. Now, I don't know what happened out there today. I'm sorry about what happened, whatever it was. But if you did tape something of it, that's not going to change what happened. What will change is how you feel about it.
Let me see at the end.
That was the end.
No, but what did they do in the end?
Is how you feel about it.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Last frame.
It's because it's nice to see what we give to them also at the end, because the way if we have the role until the end is much better than if they see us as an actors that they threw the towel kind of thing in the middle of the take.
Which he didn't do.
Which he didn't do.
No.
He didn't do, so it's fine. That's what I wanted to see at this end. So, very impressed.
Neil, it's very impressive.
Good.
I've only got one thing.
Okay.
Okay, when I see something like that, this is important. When I see something like that, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to mess with it. You'll do that for somebody, and you'll go. They'll go, all right, let's do another take, and you'll go, why? And they'll go, well, I don't know, just let's do another one. There's a reason why directors don't and people don't say anything. It's because they're scared of messing it up, right? They're scared of you doing what they want you to do, which is considerably less profound, original, and authentic. What you just did. They don't want you to follow orders. They want you to bring what you can bring to it. Okay, there's something which is very there's very authentic about it, and it's also really nice writing. It's really nice writing.
Yes.
And the danger with nice writing is you do it like nice writing, but you play the point of this through to the very end, which is the story I'm telling you means something, and it's not overwrought. It's not full of angst. It's not. And there was a photo. No. It's very matter of fact. It's very mature. It's very adult. It's very masculine in all the right ways. There's only one thing I would add, right? And it's purely technical, right? And so let's go back to it, and I'm gonna show you specifically what it is. It has to do with your relationship with the camera, not just the camera, but what's at the other side of the camera. Okay? There's a certain tendency that we have. For example, look, I'm speaking to you right now. The camera's there. Now, I'm speaking to the guy who's over there, right? And I'm talking to him and I'm explaining things to him. What actors tend to do, right, is they tend to not look or be conscious of this part of the world because they're scared of looking into the lens. The secret is, over this side, the other side of the lens, where the person isn't. On camera, it looks like you can do anything over here. That person won't see it. So I can speak to you like this, and I can go, well, I got to tell you this story, and it's not easy, right?
According to an
Alexa, shut up. Look at this. Why is Alexa speaking right now?
Alexa?
Shut up. Anybody who's got you know who in their house knows. No, don't say her name.
Oh.
Anybody who's got you know who in their house knows that you spend most of your time telling them to shut up.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, meanwhile, back in the real world. So, thanks for the interruption. One of the things is that when you've got that part of I just activated.
My Alexa.
Don't say the name. Yeah, you got to be careful with the A word, right? So one of the things is that when you're talking to someone, the idea is you're talking to them over there, but this whole part of the world, which is the other side of the camera, doesn't really exist for this person, and that's where you get to be with us.
That is the complicity that we're looking at. So when you are not looking at the other person, there is still a world, okay, that we have to feel part of it, and that is your inner thoughts, your desires. So to not be so fixed with the person that you have there. It's like that. You see, I am here now, but I can be with the person here, and I can have the one here, my thoughts, my,
Here's an interesting question from my old pal Gregor Powry, who's up in Pitlochry. He says, question, hi you two. Recently I was told that showreels are becoming less relevant to casting directors, but they are happier to see some footage. Of course, this will depend on the size/type of role you're being considered for, but given that getting hold of enough recent footage of enough variety to edit together for a reel that might be outdated very quickly is hard and time consuming, do you think this is a fair comment? And yeah, it is a very, very fair comment. It's over the time we've been doing these live streams, we've interviewed maybe, I don't know, a half dozen casting directors who've directed anything from small Spanish productions to huge international productions. The person we had last week, Tanucha Vidal, she actually did the casting for the Terminator film that's shot here in Spain. And it's certainly a thing that's happened during the last 2 years in confinement, is that all castings have become this dreaded self-tape. Now, people think self-tapes are new. I was helping people with self-tapes 10 years ago. You would put together a tape, light it well, and you would send off an actual DVD, or you put it up on Vimeo or something like that for it to be seen in Los Angeles or London or wherever. One of the things that's happened is that people they're now capable of seeing past what might not be the best lighting, what might not be the best sound, and actually seeing really what the quality of the actor is. When I say quality, I don't mean good or bad. I mean whether they're the sort of this organic thing that we all have as actors. Like we just watched Neil. Neil has a very specific, down to earth, Northern Ireland, straight shooting. If you ever want a speech to do, go do the speech of I need to find out it's a colonel. Kenneth Branagh did it in a TV movie. It's a speech made by a colonel just before his tank battalion goes into Iraq in 2003.
Oh yeah, what was that called?
Tim, I want to say Conway. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, it's becoming less and less relevant. And the other reason being, Greg, is that the tools of editing are, everybody's got them on their phone right now. It's within everybody's reach. We're able to shoot at a higher quality of sound and image than ever before. And also we're able to do that in the torturous part of our house where we've got one of our sheets hung up on the wall. That's the other thing. So I think it's an important thing, for example, more to get an agent or to use it as a sort of introduction for other people than it is necessarily for casting directors per se, because they're looking for something very specific and they're going to be wanting something which is, usually they'll give you the sides that you have to read. So I think it's a very fair comment. However, it is the most useful tool when it comes to if you want to change agents, get an agent, or make an introduction to somebody else. And there's another thing too. The other reason I think that showreels are useful is I think they are good for esprit de corps. They're very good for the morale of the actor because they go, this is something I did, I like it, have a look at it. And I think that's another thing which is very, very important. It's no?
I might add that is also a tool for, a video book or, a showreel that is updated and that you can, it gives to the agent another opportunity to call the agents to use this material to provoke a little bit more of excitement, So sometimes it's interesting that, the updates are to the video books apart from, whatever that you can shoot because, it gives an opportunity to the agent to continue the relationship with and following up with all these people that you want to work with.
Here's a question from Ellie. Ellie, who's from Uruguay, speaks English, French, Dutch, and probably a few other languages I'm not aware of. Where is his accent from? His accent specifically from Northern Ireland. Where it is specifically in Northern Ireland, you'll have to tell me, Neil. But I recognize it as being from the north, which is quite a very distinct accent than you get from the south. So I'm going to go back to the reel and I'm going to highlight exactly what it was I was talking about before.
I once did a piece on this war photographer. His name was Martin Krastovsky. For 6 months he was with a unit in Vietnam.
Now what I want you to watch is that whenever you look off to your right. Okay? So that means you're looking to the left of the person who's looking at you. Okay, Craigavon at the moment, but I've lived in Belfast and Newry. My brother lives in Newry, right? Joanna says, thanks for staying there. Wow, we ain't going anywhere, Joanna. So this is the thing. As you can see, you're looking to the person who's currently to the left of camera, okay? And then you look further to the left of camera. But what you don't do very often, and you do it once in a while, is you don't cross what we call the line of camera, or in Spain we call the eje de cámara, right? You don't cross that to go to the other side.
And the day before he was scheduled to leave, he's out with the unit, and it was just a routine patrol, or so they thought.
Now,
but suddenly the lieutenant...
You begin to see what I'm doing? If I actually go fast through this, you look down. The reason that you look down, right? The reason that you look down is you're scared of looking into the lens. Okay, that's normal. Okay, you're not gonna look into the lens. The lens is a tiny little thing. You're not gonna clock it. You're gonna go straight past it, or you're gonna blink as you pass it. That's one of the things. So
let's watch it again.
Yeah.
Fast forward.
So as you can see here, if you take, you see where we're going, is that you're looking at them, you're intense with them, you're communicating with the person. It's nice. I don't know whether you're doing it to a mark on the wall.
You see here you put the eyes
of a
down.
man dying.
It's just a second, but I mean,
It was a picture of a man saving his...
If that would be more in the line of the actual lenses and not down, if it would be also in the other side, it would be much more powerful, the communication.
One of the things that actors do, it's like people do in real life, is where am I? 120. So one of the things that actors do in when they're acting is when they're thinking, they think like this, right? But the trouble is you can't see my eyes, so you can't see what I'm thinking, because not only am I hiding it from the person who is with me, I'm also hiding it from the camera. Another thing you can do, and you'll see this a lot when you know what it is that actors do this. they think upwards. They think upwards. I always remember Jeff Daniels' speech from a newsroom, and he says we used to build great things and used to celebrate smart men, and then he looks up and he goes, and we didn't scare so easy. Right? That thinking thing can also happen upwards. Okay, and it's a great way to open yourself to the camera. Coming back
Is
here,
life.
right?
120.
Oh, I'm there.
The picture I'm making, the picture I'm trying to make, it's about what you people go through every single day under the most difficult circumstances that.
And you see, this whole side that you get that's off to the left of your face,
It's not there.
it doesn't exist. The world doesn't exist.
It's nice to invent worlds, worlds of people that they are intimate, like the thoughts, but you can also have other things, So, well, not here because it's very intense and you want the people to understand, and it's very is a thoughtful and also a passionate meeting you have with the other person, and you want to also see what the other person feels and thinks, because you're convincing him of something. But when also there is things that you can do when we're talking with someone but you don't like what they are saying, and then you are just thinking the people that they are in that room and something that happened, and that gives truth, which is nice, because we are in a world where we have to invent where we are in, and so it will add another layer. Good actors do that. We always say Meryl Streep is really good at that. Also the relationship with other people is nice too. If at the beginning you don't start so quickly with the text, if really you create this environment, is also a very good tip. Sometimes we don't know how to express ourselves. We are thinking on how you're gonna do. We smile to the person you have in front of you. Something distracts you, and then finally say, "Okay, I have to say it. I'll say it." So all these little moments, it gives us truth. It gives us truth because the people don't speak right away. People have a tendency of how I'm going to do that, and how and you can actually answer question to yourself, and it's better, remember, to generate questions, never give answers. So the idea of someone that that is going to explain a story, and this story is going to be heavy for him, or it's going to be something that you want to do it right, or it's also a very nice thing to say, and it's not in the page, but that will give you also a way of understanding for the casting director that you have this world that is very very important for you to share it. It's your own creation apart from the page.
It's very interesting, because if I'm speaking to somebody here, and I'm speaking to somebody here, and speaking to somebody here, and okay, and there's a whole world over here. You see this a lot when people are in scenes in restaurants. Is what will happen is they'll be speaking to the person, but they'll look to the other side of this person, but what they won't do is they'll look to the rest of the bar or the restaurant, things like that. The fact is, in terms of acting, Neil, it works.
Yes, there are little bit of adjustments.
It's a purely technical thing.
Yes.
About relationship with the camera.
Yes.
Okay, but in terms of what you're doing, in terms of your through line and the point that you're making, you make beautiful sense of it. It's got depth. It's effective. I buy it. You know what I mean? It's very authentic. Well done. I understand why they called you back, because you have something which you don't find in actors who've been trained to the nth degree, which is you've got a reality to you, and for Christ's sake, don't let anybody fight you on that.
Remember that there is two things always we have to do. First, we have to think that is going to happen in this moment. It has to be believable. Then is you are going to generate questions to the person who is watching you. So it's not our job to give answers, but to provoke or to stimulate questions in the minds. And the third thing is the thoughts. The camera wants to see thoughts. The camera is not. The text is for theater. What we really want to know is these worlds that you are creating, that they are only your own, and that is the interesting thing. That's when we call it good acting. When we see that the person is relaxed enough and committed enough to have all these worlds that they're gonna be the part of your creation and only yours.
Here's an interesting point. Thank you, Neil. I know exactly why they called you back to do something else. It's great work. I wouldn't change a thing apart from that one technical thing. And when you got that, you will actually feel more freer because now you'll feel in control. This is a very interesting point from Greg. He says, very interesting. Doing a lot of thinking acting on screen at the moment in a soap. I think he's doing River City, which is what Deirdre was doing for a very long time. Look at that, come home to roost. And constantly having to tell myself there's nothing interesting on the floor. What's tricky is finding the technique to cross your eye line through the lens to the other side. It should be the most natural thing in the world. Yeah, it's a good point, but listen, one of the things that happens is that, look, I'm crossing the lens, right? I'm crossing the lens. How does it look like I'm not looking into the camera? Well, because I'm not focusing on the camera. That's the problem. You can cross the lens, just don't look at it. Now that sounds like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when they say, the secret to flying is to fall over and forget to hit the ground. I know that. But one of those things that we have is that if you're conscious where the camera is, okay, what you're never going to do is you're actually never, because the actual difference between looking in the direction of the camera and focusing on the camera, we can get that. And look, every single actor's gone, oops, I looked right, I saw the camera, right? Because you focused on it. But for the most part, the other way to think of it is like a donut around the lens. You can actually circumnavigate that donut. You can actually, you can go around it if you want.
But from that, I want to tell you something. You see, the people that they look, imagine that I have the person there, and I'm going to look at the camera now, okay? I'm going to look at the camera because I'm looking at the camera, and now I'm looking at the camera, now I'm looking at the camera again. But you don't see that I'm looking at the camera, right? Why? Because I'm thinking. I'm thinking on other themes at the same time. What is important is that when you are here and you cross the camera, you are not afraid of the camera. So if you just stay, you can actually look at the camera and nothing can happen, because we look sometimes in things. And something to reassure you of that is that if you do that and if you do that, we don't see that, we see that you are vaguely, thinking. But to see something, to really watch something, then we have to do this trick, which is I see, I go there and then I'm seeing, then I'm watching something. So that also reassures you that only until we don't do this double take, the people don't understand that we're looking at something.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yes.
That's a good one. All right, so here's a very quick, very technical way to see something on camera. Now, I'm looking at something, but you can't tell I'm looking at something. But I am. But there's not the moment where I look at it. So the trick is that you see it, and then you look at it. You see it, and then you look at it. It's so technical, it's just kind of a movement of the head. So you see it, and then you look at it. You can do something when you're reading. You can see it, and then you can look at it. It's like when we're driving and we're lost. What we do is we switch the...
I would say that when you are reading something, the idea not is to do that, but the idea is to
Oh, no, you can do it the other way around. Look, you can actually, if you're looking at something, you can actually take it and put it further away.
Yes.
That's another way to do it. But
that's the adult way of reading.
So it's like, I can't see. Let me go and grab my specs. But it's I have no idea what's going on here. It's a complete mystery to me. But it's one of those curious things that it's the movement of the head, which what you're doing is you're creating the moment. When we're working on camera, what we're doing is we're giving them moments that they can harvest. Right? Yeah. Gregor says Michael Caine does that brilliantly. Yeah, I highly recommend everybody. You can find it. It's on YouTube. It should be really easy to find. Watch Acting Masterclass with Michael Caine. Now, I remember, Greg, I remember watching that when I was at the RSAMD, as it used to be called back in the day, before they decided to give it a French name. I remember watching that, and I didn't understand what the hell was going on. I just didn't get it because I'd never worked on camera, so it was like it might as well have been in Chinese. But you can actually see it. It's all up there. It's Michael Caine's acting masterclass, much satirized and parodied, I must say, by Peter Serafinovitz, which I also highly recommend, which is hilarious. And the curious thing, I had a revelation the other day about acting. Can I share it with you?
Yeah. I understand that you say Michael Caine, but we are saying it for, I think, 30 years.
No, I know. We've been out for a long time as well.
I mean, a little bit of appreciation.
No. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll give it to them. Yeah, no, but there's good stuff in that. But
yeah, no, of course.
But there's a lot of the time.
God, this Michael Caine. But I mean,
what I was trying to say is, I watched
that all the professionals that they have been, in more than 3 protagonists on their lives, are actually going to tell you that, because that is something that we understand when we are working, and we see and we measure the effectiveness of what we are doing. That is something that expresses truth, is one of the signals that also teachers we have to understand if this person is really concentrated and committed on what they are doing. Is something that we appreciate very much. And casting directors, perhaps they don't know that we are doing that, but they see that there is something there that is truthful. That's what we want.
Oops, sorry, Assumpta. Sorry.
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah, can I share my revelation with
yes.
you? Let me share my revelation with everybody right now. One of the things that we're told of as actors is our capacity to listen to other people and process what they're saying. I was working with an actor the other day, and I was talking about this, and then I had a great revelation, which is the first person that we should learn to listen to is ourselves. And it's interesting because it ties into that thing that Greg was saying about not looking into the lens. Is that really what happens when you're having to show yourself thinking? Is you're trying to work out what it is you feel, think, opinion, or decision you're going to make about something or other. And that, when you're not speaking, is very much a very clearly active intent to listen to yourself. And we do that sometimes. When we got to make a decision, we've got to try and work out what we're going to do. And it's fascinating to see people going through that process. And it's something that we come from in terms of actors, is that very often we're always moved by external stimuli. We're always moved by somebody else talking, something else happening, the script, whatever it might be. But there's a point, and this is the thing, the difference between actors that you want to go back and watch again and again, and actors that are doing their job competently, but they're doing their job. The ones you want to go back and watch again and again is because you're fascinated by their relationship with the way that they themselves are thinking. For example, Neil here in this thing where he's talking about this experience that he had with this photograph and this person and all the rest of it, is that there's an element of that which is fascinating because this person, in the moment that he's telling this story, also has to come to terms with the story that he's telling, what it means to him and what it means to the person that he's speaking to. And I think he does it extremely well. Those are the things which are really fascinating to watch. And also those pieces of acting which are shocking in their truthfulness or their authenticity, I think they have those too. If you watch Mark Rylance in the scene in Bridge of Spies when he's speaking to Tom Hanks and he tells the story, if you look it up on YouTube, it's called Standing Man. Highly recommended. And the curious thing there is you also see Tom Hanks change as an actor. He relaxes and he's more present in that scene and those scenes where he's with Mark Rylance than probably in any other movie he's ever done, because
he recognizes that there is a person there, and not an actor.
Yeah. You also get that with Andrew Scott. I highly recommend you look up Andrew Scott. Look up on YouTube. Look up Andrew Scott's speech. If I can, what I'll do is I'll put those. If I find those links, I'll put them in the description after this video, because Andrew Scott is giving a speech which was given by the first a black woman to become a judge in that particular state, and it's a commencement speech for people who are leaving university, and it's called 5 Choices, I believe.
It's one of the best things that it happened to me at the beginning of the pandemic. No, he was an actor that was actually so truthful, with a text that it was very invigorating.
Absolutely. So what I wanted to do is, can we do?
Yes.
Right. So
Let's see, Gregor. Gregor says, because I've done so much stage work, the word of fast-moving soap filming means it's a steep learning curve. I shall have to send you some footage, although you could probably pull it up from a player. Simple but straightforward question. How do you feel about watching yourself? Can you remain objective? Okay, Gregor, that is a very interesting thing. Is something that, you know, actors that they come from theater have a very, you know, a very problematic relationship with, because we are used in theater to do things that they don't work in camera, really, and because, you know, all the technique that they are giving us to be able to produce the voice, to be able to produce, to talk, to walk,
the physicality
of it is really not worth it here.
Not only that, it's also to sustain it over 8 performances a week if you're doing the traditional performance schedule in British
so you
theatre.
have to do things to really pull it off, but it's a complete different technique in movies and in television, and soap is still another one. So, you know, what we need really is to watch ourselves with objectivity. Yes, it is possible. Why? Or when you are starting to have objectivity is when you see yourself a lot, when you have a point of view that is not a negative one, is as objective as seeing yourself as curious as another actor. And not judging it, but actually just observing curiously what's happening with that person. Because there is a person and there is the actor, and we cannot see the actor in camera. We have to see the person. So this distinction is something that you realize when you are more confident, when you are, you know, the person and the actor just fit perfectly well, and that is when we are confident about the things that we are doing, and watching ourselves is give us this trust on us to understand at every given moment what we have to do. But this is also comes not only for watching yourself, but for understanding, a deep understanding of what's going on in a movie set. You have to understand this, you know, you have to be there for a long time to understand what every one of the persons and the objects of that room gives to the end product. If you don't do that and you don't control that, you always are going to feel somehow that they are telling you things that you don't control. So the technique, the cinema technique, is something that you can learn in practicing it, but also, you know, as we did with this speciality of acting in camera, which it gives us the opportunity to work in a safe place, you know, and
when we mean a safe place, we mean a place that you're able to make an absolute fool of yourself.
Exactly.
But that's one of the problems with drama school is eventually you end up, end up doing it in front of a paying audience, and you can't really make that much of a dick of yourself.
You have to try, and so that is why
you have to try to make a dick of yourself.
No, you have to try to go to your limits to understand what you can and you cannot do, what is more effective or not, the limits that you have as you believing yourself and you understanding yourself is never lost. So that's why, you know, a lot of actors that they come from theater, they go to our courses because it's a different technique, you have to put yourself in another perspective to understand what's going on and to control the frame. If you don't control the frame, you always are going to feel behind and you're not going to be able to see yourself.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that you really need to ask is, like, you do this. Where am I? You want to know what the frame is, and they usually go, it's like a close-up or it's a medium shot. My suggestion to you is, don't ever think you're going to like what you do. If you do, that's great, but don't ever expect it. But when you see yourself, ask yourself the question, does it work? Okay? Does it work? Because it either works or it doesn't work. That's kind of binary. You know, we can get into a discussion of I don't like it or I do like it, but that's about opinion. That's about taste. It's very hard to like what it is you do, but you can appreciate getting it right and making it work.
Note that for you to like an actor, you have to find something about yourself in that actor. You have because the likes or dislikes, they come also with what it comes out of that person. that sometimes is not the role. So sometimes you judge yourself much more severely because you are judging yourself because you want to be the best, and you see that that is not the best that you can do. And then, then this strong judgment, this judge, doesn't paralyzes you, and then you cannot be able to produce anything because you're remembering what you did, and not what you did, but what you didn't have to do. So when you are concentrated on the negative side, then nothing is going to happen. So it's a training also. That's why you need hours in front of the work that you already did to really understand what's going on with you, and understand before. Then it's going to be a time, that happened to me, that you're not going to need anything. You know exactly what you're doing because you know this light, because you know this camera, because you know with the other person you had the right things because you were thinking on them and sharing with them, and all is going to be fluid. And until you don't arrive to that moment is a time for you to stop and understand what at any given moment you were doing.
One of the most difficult, and that's interesting because that's something that's something that Michael Caine says as well, is like the idea when they say, "Do you want to watch it?" Hopefully the answer is, "No, it's all right. I know what's there because I put it there." Right? That's kind of the thing. You can have a good idea what's going to go there. The trouble is that we are, first of all, we see our face reversed because we normally see our face in a mirror live. And it's the other way around. That's the first thing. That's a bit weird. The next thing is everything sort of looks different from what we imagined it to be. And the other thing is that when we're going into filming, the rhythm of everybody else is completely different from ours. They're at a breakneck speed, and they're in a process, and that they're in a tempo, and it's working in a particular way. And what happens, like traffic on a motorway, we have to filter into this and either catch up or slow down depending on what it is. And initially, most of our work is done in a state of basic panic. It's like we're trying to balance plates, several at once, and we're just lucky if we get through the take and the plates don't crash to the ground. When you have a little time to reflect, because always, look, I've said this so many times to actors, there's never enough takes, or there's always too many takes. Right? We either have to do it too many times or we don't do it enough times. That's one of the things. There's actually a sweet spot of takes, which is depending on the actor. Some actors want to do it once and move on with their day because they know what they've done and they know how to hit the ground running. Some actors need 3 takes to warm up, and you're going to get to take number 5 or 6, and then it's going to be great. If you're dealing with soaps, you're dealing with multi-camera shooting, then you've got a whole technical thing because first I'm going to be with this camera. I'm going to be like, "Listen, Susie, I'm not going to take your shite anymore." And then you're going to walk over here and this other camera is going to find you, right? That's what it's going to be. So it's very, very technical. That's when you have to pare down what you're doing as an actor. You have to work on the principle that I need people to think that I'm really saying these things. It's like when we're playing a joke on somebody, we're being very convincing, and they actually going, "Are you joking with me?" And you go, "No, seriously. Seriously, a giant goose just ate your coat. I saw it. Seriously. Go look." That ridiculousness is what we have to kind of bring to any kind of moment and question ourselves and to see whether it works or not. And in terms of simplicity, just work out what we're doing at any given moment. Am I explaining? Am I threatening? Am I hiding? Whatever it might be. Because the trouble with the camera is that the detail at which we're working is so fine that if we try to do anything more than that, we'll be over-egging the pudding, as we would say.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, I get to use British colloquialisms. You'll be over-egging the pudding.
Okay, so today is 8:50.
Should we do one last one?
No, because it's a disadvantage for this person because we have to
That's
finish
true.
really at 8. So I'm sorry, we only had time to do one, but that's what it is.
No, but it was great. And
giving us, that's what really is.
It's all just an excuse so we can talk about acting. Well, this is what I wanted to say, Neil, is look up on YouTube Colonel Tim Collins' inspirational speech, Kenneth Branagh. Go look it up. because I think I'd love to see you do that, because I think it's something that you could keep in your back pocket. And he's doing it with his native Belfast accent. No, Greg says...
really interesting. It's weird. Sometimes watching a scene, I can say, well, that works, but the reason isn't always tangible. That is interesting. This thing of working or not working. Well, what it does work, I have a lot of resistance myself on, about the content of what I am watching. Then I have a prejudice, and then I cannot see. I cannot see anything.
So that means if you're doing something really shitty, you're not. It doesn't matter how great you are.
No. Is that sometimes when I'm watching something that I didn't want really to do it or something, and there is something that I wondered myself, does that work? I know that I was completely contrary, having the resistance but does it work? And sometimes it does. And so I'm thinking, okay, you cannot concentrate on the things that work in that case because you weren't committed 100%. But still, there are things that you pull out of your sleeve to understand when you have a situation that the director, whatever, the actor, whatever, this resistance that you have that makes you believe that you cannot do 100% of your work. You have really to understand yourself a lot. And that is what is nice about our job, isn't it? Is to understand that the world that we create for ourselves is what is going to also allow us to do the 100%. And there is nothing that we can blame, nothing. Because if you don't do the 100% of every time, well, that is going to be your fault, is it?
And you said something which is very interesting. You said, oh, hello, Francisco. How the heck are you? Good to see you here. You said something about tangible, when something is tangible. That intangibility, that thing which is you can't quite put your finger on it. Those are the things that we're always looking for in acting. And this is one of the things that's very difficult when we come from a theatre tradition where we actually have to make very concrete decisions and execute them in more or less the same way every night after night, 8 times a week, twice on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And one of those things which we don't play with on stage is this concept of uncertainty, because it freaks us and everybody else the hell out. It's one of the things, if you've ever seen Mark Rylance on stage, it's electrifying because you've absolutely no idea what's going to happen next. I always think those other poor actors are looking at him going, dude, just what are you going to do? I mean, seriously, because you're speaking directly to me, which is bringing me out of this acting that I'm doing. So that uncertainty is one of the principles in this book that we're writing. There's a chapter dedicated called The Uncertainty Principle, which is basically about welcoming in that untangible thing, because there's nothing more interesting than watching an actor trying to work out, or a person trying to work out what the hell they think about something, what the hell they're going to do, and also what the hell they're going to say. And that comes from this broad idea of uncertainty. And uncertainty is one of those things that we're instantly drawn to, because what manifests itself is several possibilities. And when there's several possibilities, we're interested in the outcome. What's chosen? Where do we go? And that's where we really find empathy with a character as an audience, when somebody's in a state of uncertainty. And then when they commit to that particular thing, then it's just one thing after the other.
Yes, but this thing of being tangible is also something that, they are things that they are intangible, that they become to the realm of mystery. We're talking today about mysteries, and
we were certainly talking to mysteries. Yeah.
Well, this thing of mystery is the things that you cannot write. Is the things that it happens at that moment. Is the things that you like it because you are in the truth and that moment in time. Okay, that is something that you cannot perhaps repeat. But then you can, as an actor, think, okay, so where I was there. what I have to do to repeat it, and in the second take, what can I do to really go a step further? Okay, now that I have it, let's do something else, because you have to do these tricks to be able to be always in the freshness kind of thing. So it's really important that this tangible, the things that they work, they come from the right place, which is by observation, to understand you, what tricks you, what really triggers you to do these moments of truth, because that is, and I'm sorry to say that, but I think that is the most wonderful job in the entire world. Is really acting is really a job where you can understand yourself better, you can observe the others better, you can better the others for your own choices, and those choices are very small. And this, if you are in that moment, you are flexible, you are smarter, and you are really knowing a lot about life.
There's something I want to add about this intangibility, is that we're talking about mystery, we're talking about uncertainty, we're talking about the intangible. I think one of the side effects of doing anything very, very well, it doesn't matter what it is, one of its side effects, if not the side effect, is art. And I believe that that very intangibility, that very mysterious thing that we're not quite sure what it is probably art. The trouble is that it's never the objective. Now, Mark Leese is here. Mark, who's an art director and a production designer and many different things. Good stuff, guys, he says. Thank you, Mark. Is that to take something which is about creating a practical environment, which has layers of meaning, symbolism, subtext, and everything else like that, within the context of a story, within the light, the costume, the chosen actors, and all of those different things.
The work of others.
All of those things put together.
They're the work of others.
Yeah,
really?
All of those things put together, they create a final thing which can or cannot be, or may not be confused as art. But that intangible thing, that thing which gives us a flutter in our stomach or our eyes well up, those are things which are touching something much more profound than we are capable of writing, painting, drawing, speaking, or at times singing. And that's those little intangible things. You have to go, well, it's a mystery. I always think of Shakespeare in Love when he says, don't worry, the play will happen, it's going to work. And he says, but how? And he says, I don't know, it always does, it's a mystery. And there's an element to it, which is all that. We all know if you've got 3 weeks to rehearse, it'll be ready in 3 weeks. And you will have just needed a little more time. If you got 6 months, you would do it in 6 months, but you just needed a little more time.
What it does work, is what it is believable, what generate questions in the audience. What does it work? Works also when we don't, as an actors and in our inner process, we don't quite recognize what we are doing, but we know that we are in the right moment, and that is the good take, and we know that. So, to play yourself one take after the other, tricking yourself and not repeating what you did, but going a little bit further is your job, isn't it? So this how you call it, this ganas de perfeccionamiento,
this will, this need to perfect the take, to perfect the text, to perfect the relationship with the other character. Many things that you can go from one take to the other gives you the being the moment that we need, right? Because we need for, if it works, that is believable. Perhaps we don't like it much, but it is believable. So, when I see the work of Stallone, Sylvester,
I cannot say that I like his acting, but it's believable. It creates a monster that is believable. No?
Yeah, it's
one piece.
It's him.
One piece
it's
only.
Sylvester Stallone.
and it goes there, and you know what I mean. And you say, well, it's not that, it creates something that is new for a lot of people, which is also nice. And of course, in his in his perception, he's not doing something that, he thinks is new or anything. He just, controls so well what is going on with the camera, and he gives it to us in such a simple form that we still create more sense, because we are forced to actually, he generates questions, so we are forced to give answers to everything he does. It's very interesting, when this mystery of a person, no? I saw a lot of actors in my life that I say, I don't know if he's really stupid or he has a lot of things that he's not
really
saying.
It's interesting. If you ever want to feel inspired, go look up round number 12, Rocky, and you'll see one of the greatest and most mythical moments in film history. It's beautiful because Rocky's going to win. He's going to lose the match, and he's on the canvas, and Apollo Creed is celebrating already, and he turns around and he sees Rocky, and Rocky begins to climb tortuously to his knees, and then he staggers to his feet, and Apollo Creed's face drops because he knows he's going to win the fight, but he'll never ever beat this man. And it's a beautiful moment, absolutely beautiful moment. The other thing I want to say, it's interesting. Greg, who's up at the crack tomorrow, at the crack of
at 6:30
at the crowd of
tomorrow.
6:30, he says, if in doubt, play the truth. Really helpful, guys. I'll try and remember this at 6:30 tomorrow.
Well-
And say, well, I would say about the truth. We can debate about the truth all day. I would say play the action and don't worry about getting your hands dirty. One of the things that happens to us as actors, one of the reasons that we're actors, is because we want to be loved and liked by everybody, and that's the thing. One of the problems that we have to do between action and cut, we actually have to be people who don't give a damn about anybody else to a greater or lesser extent. We have to be interested and involved in the thing that we're playing at that moment, and play it to the hilt as hard as we can, as ferociously, and still not be sure about it. So the truth, which I think is a bit of a weasel word, as they term it in Wikipedia terms, it's like, what exactly do you mean by that? Authenticity. The authenticity is always going to be yours, because you're Greg and nobody else looks, sounds, or does the things the way that you do, and do them well. And the other thing is, sometimes you have to be not afraid to be offensive between action and cut. That's the thing is. But the playing the action, whatever it means to be, explaining, exploring, justifying, that's the thing to play. And if you play that with commitment, the truth will manifest itself. The truth is not something you can play. The truth is a side effect of commitment to an honest action.
Good, nice.
You like that?
Let's finish here.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Lucinda's here. She just turned up.
I'm sorry.
Lucinda, I'm sorry. We're going to go. Break a leg. Greg, do you know where the expression break a leg comes from?
No.
Break a leg. Apparently, in the old days, the curtains, what you would do is you would wind them open and closed with a handle. Now, all of the rope work came from ships back in the day. Now, this handle, which was replaceable because it broke very often, this handle was actually called a leg. Okay? So what would happen is if you had to open and close the curtain a lot, because there was lots of applause and ovations,
Of course, it did break.
then what you do is you would break a leg.
Nice.
So that's apparently where that comes from.
Okay, nice. Okay, thank you very much. By the way, I fell in love with him because we were commenting a lot about these things and sayings in English and Spanish, and it was beautiful. We really adore the ins and outs and tricks of our language and our way of thinking. It's good, really nice, and it's really nice from England to Spain, the things that we've been seeing that defines our culture. Very interesting. So Daniele Realesi says, I heard it was because if you got even a leg on a stage in a vaudeville, you got paid.
That might be. Look,
might be.
It's one of those things. It's like the whole 9 yards. The whole 9 yards. My favorite, my favorite explanation was in the P-45 Mustang during the Second World War in the Pacific Theater was an American fighter plane, and apparently in its machine guns it had 9 yards of ammunition.
9 yards, that's a lot.
Like
I
9
don't know
meters.
what is yet. Oh yeah. 9
meters. So it had 9 yards of. So when it was the whole 9 yards, you give it absolutely everything.
Everything you got.
Yeah, there's certain things which it's like settle your hash. That comes from the French, from ash, from hatchet. Oh. Settle your hash is when you would in a dispute you would bury an axe. Yeah.
Bury an axe?
You're burying.
You had time in a dispute to bury an axe?
No, it was after you finished the dispute.
Okay.
It wasn't like you were like, you see, I'm going to go get a shovel and bury this
and
piece
we're
of...
going to finish this discussion, okay?
No. So, no, it was the idea is the hatchet or the axe represented the dispute.
Okay.
Right, or metaphorically.
And you were doing it after the thing
so
was clear.
So it was like a metaphorical thing. All right, thank you. Luciana
Thank you, guys. Love you.
Barenechea, actriz, thank you very much. She liked it when I said, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Right, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much for being, we'll be back to...
All right.
I'll just be an excellent time for me to take my shirt off, Mr. Soderbergh. It's been great to be back with you cats, and here we are. And we'll be back
Great
tomorrow.
couple, yes, thank you.
We'll be back tomorrow night. I think, what we're going to do, and ask us everything, or ask us anything, or are we going to...
Next week?
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday.
Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow Friday.
I've got lots of showreels in Spanish
really
to
in
review.
Spanish also?
Yeah, they're beginning to stack up.
Good. We like that.
We're going to stack up. Remember, if you ever need to send us an email, say hello, ask us a question, whatever it might be, you can get both of us on Scott at Familia de Cine or Assumpta at Familia de Cine. That's also if you want to send material, showreels, photos, anything like that, because we love to do that because it gives us an opportunity to share what we think we understand about this ridiculous craft of acting in one way or another. And remember to, if you're watching this afterwards or right now, if you've subscribed, go ahead and do that on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, go to YouTube and subscribe. And that's where you'll find all our playlists. All the stuff in English is there.
Yes.
All that great stuff. Also on
They
Facebook.
separated all the things from English?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not a monster or something.
Sorry, I didn't see.
Also on Facebook. And remember, if you want to help us out, you can help us out on a monthly basis for the less than a cost of... I'd like to say for the cost of a cup of Starbucks, but no, it's cheaper than that. Starbucks costs an arm and a leg. I mean, like a proper leg, not like a theater leg for a curtain. You know what I mean? You can go to patreon.com/Assumpta Serna, and they've just asked us to be ambassadors in Europe.
Yes, I don't know what that entitles.
I have no idea. Maybe we'll get a hat and a uniform with a sash. That's what I'd like. Something with feathers. That's what I'm in the market. I want the feathers. That's what I'm in the market for. Anyway, thank you so much for being with us. We'll have a very brief after show, but that has been our show for this evening. Thank you. Merci. Dankeschön. And there you go. Neil Collins says, for the cost of 100 milliliters of diesel. I think it's less than that right now, Neil. I think, wait till the end of next week and we'll be the best deal in town. But until then, upwards.
Oh, yes. And?
Onwards. Right, that's okay. After show. So what are we doing right now? We're writing a lot, and I just read down.
They say that the things start to be more expensive now. My mother said.
What did she say? What was she buying?
For the war.
What was your mother buying? Diesel?
It's true that we are going.
Things are going to get more expensive. Yeah.
But what?
I don't know. I'm already I'm gonna start a black market. I'm gonna sell cigarettes and silk stockings. I don't know. We're in a very, very peculiar position right now.
That is because countries sell to the other things.
No. It's got to do with we get a lot of grain from the Ukraine, and also we're reliant. A lot of Europe is reliant on gas, specifically natural gas from Russia.
Our gas comes from there.
I couldn't tell you. I need to look at the label.
We don't know anything.
Look at the label.
We don't know. I don't know anything. I feel that all the power of knowledge had been. There's too many knowledge, and then.
Well, one of the curious things we've got going on here is that nobody believes anything that anybody says. We've all just come out of a pandemic. We're like that. Hey, what was that? Invasion.
Yeah. Particular times, huh?
Yeah, it's Ellie says, what a pity after show cannot be by Zoom. I think it's because she's got things to contribute. It could be that. Well, we should
Zoom?
By Zoom.
Zoom.
I don't think she means it's a shame we can't do the after show in a zoo.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very it's as the ex-president of Spain once said, It's very complicated, todo eso. So he almost got a whole sentence out in English. You know, he failed at the last drop. It's very, very confusing right now. A lot of this is brought on by weak leadership from the politically correct West. Basically, you have a proper despotic, leader like Putin, who's like, right, you big bunch of sissies, I'm going to invade a country. Work it out. You know?
But it says that China, they are also saying...
I don't know. Everybody's expecting China to invade Taiwan.
Yeah. Wow.
I would love to be able to
I don't know if I prefer the pandemic.
Well,
I prefer the pandemic. Oh no, I don't prefer the pandemic.
No, I
A
don't. A lot of people died.
Why we have to have all these things?
I don't know. It's all I know is in the history books between the 2019 and 2023 are going to be very complicated to write.
Yes.
They're going to be a real mess. Every 5 minutes, they've just released the details from Pfizer of the initial trials of their vaccine. That's another thing which nothing. There's like about 800. There's about 400,000 pages they have to wade through. Yeah.
People that they had done.
No. These are the tests. These are the test results. The initial investigations that they did when they were testing the vaccine. There's so much information out there. It's going to take a very, very brave team of people to try and make sense of all of them.
Alexia, says
no, don't.
Alexia answer
No,
this
don't. No,
Alexa, ask the question.
I'm not going to ask a question.
Come on.
No. Alexa, what's the news with the Ukraine?
I don't know that.
Look at that. She even doesn't. She
doesn't even know. Alexa.
Yeah. Don't.
Please
stop it. Right. Okay. So Lucinda says, here's a good one. She says, will you be looking at hedgehogs again? I'd like to send you some when I've chosen them and got them back. Absolutely,
yes,
Lucinda.
Send
them to us here. You can send them, if they're not too big, you can put them in an email, but I prefer if you send them through WeTransfer.
Remember to have them, all the pictures with your name.
And remember to put your name on it. And that's one thing. I don't know if you're still here, Neil, but just remember, whenever you make a video, you said war photographer, remember to put your name on it. Put your full name on it. It doesn't matter. In the old days, what we used to have to do, this is what we used to have to do with photos and videos. You used to have to label them. You used to have to actually print a label or write it on it or whatever, or on the back of the photo you used to put your name and your agent or your address or phone number or whatever it was. Now we have the same thing, except it's digital. So whenever you send a video off, make sure you put your name, what it's for, and your contact details.
And the date, if it's possible.
Well, the date will hopefully come. That will be contextual. You'll be able to work that out.
Okay.
So, because the thing is, somebody might see that and they go, he's great. What's he called? I've got a thing called war photographer. What's his bloody name? Oh, his name's Neil Cochran. How do I find this man? Right? And they can't find you. They just cannot find you.
Yeah. We always saying, pónselo fácil.
Oh, look, Matt's back.
How you say pónselo fácil?
Make it easy.
Exactly.
Matt's back.
Easy.
Matt, how the hell are you?
Oh, yeah,
Good to see you. I
Matt.
missed you. Been away from home for nearly a month. I hope you're okay, dude. I hope everything is going swimmingly. You sent me another showreel, which I'm looking forward to reviewing. That's for sure. Look, we got to go because we got tons of stuff.
Thank you very much for being there every Thursday.
And remember, the reason that we do this is we want to have the opportunity to share what we have been doing. I edited it together. You and I have been doing this as actors anyway, for a collective 70 years.
Of what?
Well, you've been an actor for 40 years. I've been an actor for 30.
So, my goodness, I didn't know that I was that old.
Yeah, I know. It's, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And when you come to visit, Greg?
Bye
Obviously, we
bye.
got no time, but anyway, I got lots of things to tell you. But anyway, we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for dropping by.
We are always happy that we are all together.
And you make it all worth it.
Yes.
And we're very happy, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
We're blissfully happy.
I don't know what's going to happen. Because that is what's happening in the movies. First is the really good things, and then
well, that's one of the things that you remember that there's times when that point in the movie when the family is happy and they're driving and they're singing in the car, and then you're like no, they're gonna have an accident. They're definitely going to get hit by a truck.
Yes.
They're all going to get cancer in the next 10 minutes.
It's a kind of a cliche. No, how you say that? A trope. A trope, yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a trope.
Trope, yes.
And a cliche as well.
A cliche.
Do you know where the cliche comes from?
From?
Well, it comes from French, but it's the sound that a printing press makes.
Cliché, cliché, cliché.
It's the verb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's where we
Cliché,
get it from
cliché.
English. That's where we get it in English.
Okay.
It's good, no?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I always like to know where things come from. Like the gas.
We're gonna know.
Check the label on your gas. Thanks very much, guys. Love you a lot. Bye for now.